Okay, so for the next hour or so, we're going to talk about how to calculate residual precompression, which is typically used in the design of post-tension diaphragms, obviously. And it's a little more complicated, like everything in post-tensioning, than just straight rebar-only concrete or steel because of the mechanics of how we determine ultimate strength and some of the code minimums that a lot of times if you design a quote unquote good slab, beam, girder, whatever it is, a lot of times the rebar minimums are going to govern the rebar shown on your drawings, and it's a lot more than required for ultimate strength. So if you play the game correctly and understand how the mechanics work, there typically is a pretty good amount of additional force in a PT diaphragm, whether it's a two-way slab, whether it's a beam and girder system, that you can use for chords and drags and collectors and stuff like that, that hopefully can minimize the cost of the project, obviously, and save you on obviously cost of additional rebar. So in general, residual precompression in your current 318 from ACI is covered in these two sections, 18.12.7.2 and 12.5.2.2. Now, the interesting part about this section of the code is that obviously precompression can be used in diaphragm designs. All reinforcement can be used in diaphragm designs, but there's a specific commentary in these two sections, or sorry, not commentary, but section that basically says precompression can be used. And the word precompression can cause a lot of misunderstandings in the use of this as a force for ultimate strength and other things. So I'll clarify that in a second. The question I get asked a lot, and I honestly do not have an answer, is why there are two different sections that say the exact same thing effectively. Chapter 18 is currently the seismic section, so one wood frame, shear walls, diaphragms in particular are covered in 18. In the last one or two generations, they added chapter 12 after the reorganization, and that's specifically a diaphragm chapter. So there are some, redundancies. There are some different sections that pretty much match between chapter 12 and chapter 18. To the best of my knowledge, there really isn't a conflict, but obviously anytime you have two different sections that effectively cover the same thing, the potential of a conflict, or section 18 or chapter 18 allows X, or chapter 12 doesn't allow that, or something like that. But to the best of my knowledge, there's not a whole lot of conflict between the two. I think in future codes, obviously, chapter 18 should exclude diaphragm design if it's already covered in much more extensive commentary and sections in chapter 12. So at this point, I typically just use the chapter 12 references in the design, but again, it should be the same thing